So Todd just texted he needs the link. Let me send him the link via text. There it is. I love this phone link on Windows. So for people that might be watching live at the moment, we're waiting for two individuals to show up. We're waiting for Luigi and Todd Jarrett. I just texted the link to Todd. He asked for the link. Luigi says he hasn't seen it yet, so I will text him a link as well. And there we go. All right. So just bear with us for a moment while we wait for the other two. Oh, there's Mr. Jarrett. How you doing, Todd?
Did it work?
Yeah. I don't hear anything.
No?
How you doing, sir?
I got no sound.
Are your ears connected?
All right, so Luigi.
That's your microphone.
I can hear him talk, but I can't hear me.
Can they hear you? I mean, can you hear them?
Ray, can you hear me?
Yes.
I
Yes.
can't hear you.
We can hear you.
I got no sound, my friend.
Hearing aids? Did you turn them on? I mean, he's been around guns longer than I've been alive.
I can hear you, Todd.
All
Hey, Steve,
right.
can you blink 1 sec? There you go.
I got no sound.
I thought I was looking at a picture.
Just sitting still.
Can you just do it without your ears?
Right, where are you at?
I mean, put it on
Luigi?
speakerphone?
Where's the speakerphone? I got no sound.
Uh-oh. Oh my god, I got a double chin. Kidding, guys.
That's why I grew a beard.
There you go.
I need to turn off serious mode. I'm still decompressing because I thought this was supposed to be at 7 o'clock Central Time, not 7 o'clock Eastern Time. So I flew home, and so here we are.
Oh.
I got no sound, boys. You guys can hear me, but I surely can't hear you. Can you like lip sync on Ray? I don't know why he's hearing me.
Here, I'll just sing a few bars, Todd.
I'm
Let
gonna
me
put
know
my
if you can hear
subtitles,
it.
Todd.
He can't hear it.
You know what? Comments.
Hopefully
Oh, look at that. Jay Slater and Brett Wally are watching. Private chat.
Uh-oh.
So one potential voter is what you
Comments.
say.
Let me see.
Sorry, I have to tease Brett.
Can they hear you now?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
You guys can hear me, but I
Hey,
surely can't hear
Luigi.
you.
Hi, Luigi.
Hey guys.
How you doing, Luigi?
Yeah, I didn't get the email. I just had to go through the old link from before.
Okay. Well, I just sent it to you again and texted it to you, so it's all good.
Okay. Yeah, well,
You're in.
He's here now
you're
anyway. This is crazy.
Are you
software. I've
driving,
never seen
Luigi?
this before.
yeah.
Can you hear me now, Ray?
Yes.
We
Okay.
can still hear you.
I hear you guys. I can see you moving, but I got no sound here. I have no idea why not. I have no idea why I don't have sound with you guys.
Nothing.
Nothing. I got nothing.
Someone tell
Yeah.
Luigi, whoever Joseph Paul is, says that he loves you. Just saying.
Yeah. He's good people.
Oh, Luigi. Joseph says he loves you.
All right, now
Well,
this
I
is
got no
pretty.
sound, guys. I
You
can
can hear
see you guys chatting, but I have no sound. I have no idea. So I've gone in and out. Yeah, we're gonna try it on another phone. So you guys stand by.
Okay.
On the 6161. Yeah.
Let me-
Yeah. Forward. Go there.
let's see.
This, whatever software this is doesn't play super good with Apple products. It was having a hard
Nope,
time
not that
on
one.
the Safari browser.
Just go back out.
Okay, there, I click this.
Yeah, go start with Dave podcast.
What's up, Luigi?
You hear us now,
What's going on,
Todd?
Dexter?
And just do go new message 616. That's right there. Carrie Jarrett. Nope, not that one.
Oh, God.
You can send it to that one. That's fine. It will
No,
work.
that's all right. I'm gonna do this here.
Alex, you've got the I've been on the range all weekend. Raccoon lines going on there, buddy.
Oh yes, we were at Area 5 all weekend, and it was a sunny, glorious time. And I should have taken today off of work. We'll just say that.
You worked the match?
Yep.
We got Area 4 this weekend.
We'll all be down there too.
We
I
have
was
Golden
up at
Boy in
Area 5
California.
this last week, and then I'm headed to Area 4 this coming week.
Was it in Texas?
Yes.
It is.
Anyone
It's at my
working
home
on
club.
Apex Nationals?
White Sides, right?
Oh, nice.
No, white right.
White right.
Can you hear us, Todd?
I'm
We
on.
can hear
I
you, Todd.
apologize. I don't know if I'm having a problem with my DuckDuckGo or on my Google. I don't know. We tried something else, but we are operational now.
All right, he's got us.
Apologize, guys.
Okay.
By not answering any of our
Maybe,
comments, you agreed to give all of
I
us
can hear you
staccatos.
loud and clear.
Todd.
Yes, exactly.
We said if you want to give us all staccatos, just don't say anything, and he didn't say anything.
Got it. Yeah, I could do that.
Andrew
Yeah.
Roderick, your answer is
That can
yes.
happen.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to flip to the other screen real quick, and we'll get this thing going now that everybody's in and ready. All right. To all the viewers, welcome. Tonight is the second ever USPSA presidential debate. You have myself. Oh, wow. Look at that. I named myself Davey. How about that? Can't even spell my own name right. Davey Riddle.
I think you did a fine job. It's pretty close.
So you have
Nailed
me.
it.
Go ahead, Manny. Introduce yourself real quick.
Yep, this is Manny from Manny Talk Shooting. You'll hear me on your podcast platforms all around. So glad to be here, Dave.
Manny, I can barely hear you. I'm not sure if it's the
Yeah.
distance to your mic or what.
Let me turn my gain
Boost
up. I'm
your
sorry.
gain if you can.
There
Yeah.
you go.
Does that sound not too bad?
Yeah, that's
Much
better.
better.
If you've got more to give, though, that'd be better.
We're probably maxed out. I need to get my cloud lifter here soon.
Okay. Well, we'll make do. Just stay
Go ahead,
close to the
David.
mic.
Introduce yourself.
Hey, David from the Humble Marksman channel here on YouTube, and I guess that's also the name of my podcast. Excited to be here with our hopeful presidents to be.
Yes, yes, yes. All right. So, just so everybody knows, the ground rules were that I went ahead and emailed all the questions so that we can keep this down to a digestible length. So all of the candidates have the questions. They'll have roughly 30 seconds to answer each one. That was the whole purpose of giving them the questions ahead of time. And so they'll introduce themselves, we'll do the questions, and at the end, they'll have 2 minutes to say what they want to say at the very end of the debate. We've already determined the order in which the questions will go. So as you see them on the screen, that's how we will go. Once so Steve Moneypenny, we'll go ahead and bring everybody into the screen. Steve Moneypenny, when he goes first, question number 2, he will go just like shooting a stage. He'll go to the back of the line, and then Todd will be up for number 1, and then Dexter will be up for number 1 after that. This is being live streamed, so as soon as it's over, it'll be available on YouTube, more than likely Facebook as well. I'll download it and put it on the podcast so everybody can listen to it that way as well. All right. So candidate-wise, gentlemen, please remember the rules I went over with you in the locker room. There are no kidney punches, no rabbit punches, no groin strikes, no pulling hair, no biting, and no eye gouging. Are there any questions?
Elbow's still legal?
Elbows are still legal, and you may kick a grounded opponent.
Okay.
Not in the
All
head,
right.
though.
No, that's just
All right.
You
So
can't take that winning smile away from Luigi. It'd just be too big a crime. He needs all
All
those
right.
teeth.
So what I'm going to do is give each of you about 30 seconds to introduce yourself, and we'll start with Steve Moneypenny.
Hi, folks. If you don't know me, my name is Steve Moneypenny. I was seeking the presidential race last year and was unsuccessful in that, and I'm continuing this year. I'm 42 years old. I'm from the state of West Virginia. I've been shooting USPSA since 1999. I have a lot of experience in real estate and working with boards, both in a government aspect and in a private sector aspect. So I'm seeking this to help grow our sport and to help build it so it can grow in the future.
Mr. Jarrett, Todd, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hey guys, Todd Jarrett here. Essentially, everybody may know who I am after 40 years of being in the business. I'm not sure of my age anymore. I tell everybody that I'm under 60. 59 years old, been around the business for a long time, started shooting at a very young age, been involved in USPSA really since about 1983, 84 I started. And so one thing led to another as time goes on. I've been in the firearms industry for almost about 35 years now. So working with everybody in the industry, been to SHOT Show for 34 years. For me, I'm still a competitive shooter. A lot of you know that I've been a national world champion multi-time over. And I want to become president of this organization and try to do some things that I think that need to be done over 20 years ago. And I'm sure some of you will probably agree with that statement.
Dexter Lopez.
Yes, hi. My name is Dexter Lopez. I retired just last week. I work as a psychiatric technician for the Department of Corrections in California, Vacaville. So I use my energy on helping the organization. If I'm not at work, I'm usually at the volunteering. I volunteer to build stages. I worked at national programs, area matches, area 2. I've been there my third, fourth year. At the local level, I'm involved with teaching intro to competition. I volunteer every week at our local ranges.
Okay. Luigi Lee.
Hey, I'm Luigi. A lot of you guys know me. I've been in the sport for a decade or so. Shot at a really high level for a little bit. Volunteered for many years. Worked a few nationals. If you've shot any matches up and down the East Coast in the past 8 or 9 years, you've probably seen me ROing a stage or something like that. Owned businesses. Worked in the industry for a little bit. Have a lot of experience on and off the range, and it's time to step up.
Ray Hurst.
Hi, I've been in the sport since 1986, just shortly after Todd started in the sport. I've been certified since 1987. I've been a range master instructor for 8 years, retired from that. I've been Nationals match director for 25 plus years. which, I think says a lot because that's where the president really should spend his time at this point by the bylaws. It's about nationals and building the local clubs. And I've had vast experience with that. I spent 25 years running my local club and working with the Illinois section clubs and, you know, I've been the match director at 25 plus nationals, like I said. So, that's the reason I'm seeking this. I'm trying to build USPSA and I'd like to try to heal the divisiveness that's come about in the last few years.
Okay. Now that that is complete, we will go ahead and start with question number one. It's a quick and an easy one just to get us going. Steve, you kind of answered this in your initial monologue there, and that is, will this be your full-time job, or is this a part-time thing for you?
It will be a part-time job logistically, because it is a part-time job the way it is set up at this point. As for a full-time job, since the past president was removed at almost an immediate notice, I cannot give up benefits and vacation time and all of that. However, I have been at this job long enough that I have more than enough vacation time. So while it will be part-time, I will probably be putting 40 plus hours a week into it.
Okay. Todd, how about you?
Of course, I think it's going to end up being a full-time job. Whoever gets this position, I think Ray probably would understand how this organization runs over years. Will this be a full-time job for me? Absolutely not. And the reason why is because the board directors are actually running this organization in many ways. The president is more of a figurehead in a lot of ways. I feel that, drive an agenda to the board from the members, the people that I'm involved with. For me personally, I know that the board reduced the pay dramatically for president here. And I think Steve has mentioned that in his podcast before. So the amount of funds that are becoming to the president's salary has been greatly reduced. I work in the gun industry. I work for a multitude of companies. I also have a company that I run here. I have an air conditioned refrigeration company that I run. I also have real estate that I deal with. So for me, I will be spending time with that, but I will have all the opportunity that the board or anyone needs me at a moment's notice to worry about things that we need to worry about within the organization. So I will be available anytime for that.
Dexter.
Yes, sir.
What about you, full-time? You said you just retired, so is this going to be your full-time
I just
gig?
recently retired. Yes, it would be. I am retired, so I am getting my pension from the Department of Corrections. So I do have income coming, and I also have real estate and invest. So I'm not make a living here, but I do want to definitely help our local clubs with their memberships and things like that. I
Okay.
volunteer every weekend at our local clubs. I even attended an IDPA match in Colorado, which was amazing. Anyway, I would be working on this full time. I do have a
Okay.
team with me that will be helping me.
Luigi?
So the position is a part-time position, but I will be focusing the majority of my time towards it.
Okay. Ray?
I retired 7 years ago from Gardner, Denver, and this will be a full-time job for me. I'll put in as many hours as I think it's necessary to get the job done. There'll be a lot of hours with nationals, et cetera, but I'd like to also focus on doing something that I put in a number of questions is I'd really like to focus on building the new shooter program. I'm unique in that aspect that I have 18 years as an instructor, and I think I can go to the local clubs and start some good, new shooter programs to where we can build the sport. Along with
Okay.
my long-term working at Nationals and being Nationals match director, I think those are the things I'm going to focus on as president, and leave the, management of the business for the most part to the managing director and the board of directors.
Okay.
Help out in
Manny,
any
you
way
wanna-
I can.
Manny, you want to go ahead and take question number 2?
Yeah.
And we'll start with Todd.
Yep. This question's going to Todd first. If you can only accomplish one thing as USPSA president, what would that one thing be?
Well, I don't think anybody here can actually say that you want to get one thing accomplished. I have probably 14 or 15 things I would like to get accomplished after 20 years of complaining about what's been going on within the organization. I would think one thing, the most important thing, is that we need to get our financial bank account in order here. I mean, I go back and I know Ray can probably contest to this, but it's been, if I'd say for the last 20, 25 years, the organization has missed a lot of opportunities for whether it be industry people or things along the way, that we have squandered a lot of funds. And, of course, watching it for years, we see it happen. So if there's one thing that really we're working on the financial side.
Could you summarize that again? Your internet connection broke up. I'm not sure that everybody was able to understand you.
I think he might be frozen. We might need to just
Yeah, I
move
think
on
he
to
froze.
Dexter. Yeah. We'll go ahead and move on. Dexter, why don't you go ahead and take, or Manny, go ahead and.
Hello? Sorry. Yeah, was it me next? Okay. So, hello, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear
So
you.
I would like definitely more transparency within the organization. I think every member has the right to know where our money's going, things like that. Um, from every aspect of the organization, I think we should have the right to know where everything is going, right? Um, and that's pretty much transparency. And I'd like to definitely focus on our juniors. I believe they're our future. So more junior programs, including the seniors, because I think a lot of our seniors have a lot to offer to our juniors, not just about shooting, but in life in general.
Okay, I guess it's my turn, huh? So I'd like to focus on really building the local clubs and trying to build up the volunteerism, because the sport it has a problem now with not enough people volunteering. We have to build up the camaraderie, and if that could do one thing, it would be build the camaraderie of the sport. The financial stuff and the divisiveness, of course, but, if I could only do one thing, that's what it would be, because that would help solve the other problems.
Luigi, I think you got skipped.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's all good.
Yeah, it's fine. We'll all get a chance, right? But for me, the one big thing, just like Todd Jarrett said, is the financial situation. Having things above board and on time, that's the most important thing to me. Coming from the business side of things, and running local clubs and owning a business, if your money's not in check, then everything falls apart. You can have the greatest product, you can have the greatest company, but if you're not managing your coffers, I mean, you will lose whatever war you're trying to fight.
That's everybody. David, you want to hit the third one?
Oh, wait,
Yeah, so
what about Steve? Steve's got to go.
Oh,
still.
I think I did this last year too with the first one. Sorry, Steve.
That's okay.
Blink,
Pretty
Steve, blink.
much,
Kidding.
they already gave some amazing answers, but I think if we have to do one thing, I want to make it encompassing so that we can set up the organization to have a legacy that will continue for as long as it's been there and even longer. To leave our organization, once I leave office, in a position both financially and with the reputation to other people that they want to be a member of it. Like Todd said, we've got so many goals. I mean, I have 2 or 3 pages of them. Todd, I think, had 15 or 16. Of course, the longer you do this, the more stuff you find you want to do. But if the one thing it would be is to make sure that it's there for our future generations.
And so, how would you say you're going to ensure that that's going to be there for future generations? What's the one thing that would ensure that?
By creating a financially stable organization is the key main point of that. The other is creating a system that other people can work off of to grow. So basically setting where we're at right now, I see as our sport getting and needing a reset. And by that, we have went from a small organization to massive growth. So we're going to have to go from being a small corporation to a large one in the very near future. And we'll have to have our policies and procedures in line in order to do that. And the good old boy idea of, everybody knowing every piece of the organization is going to be part of the past.
Okay. So now everyone's had a chance to answer, so now I get to ask my question. So as you guys are all aware, the president is a member at large of the board. Effectively, he's like the one-man senator to the Congress that is the rest of the board. So in years past, the president was more of an executive, and now he's more of a member of a governing body. So my question is, give examples of how you've used influence to affect the direction of a group in your personal or professional life.
Dexter,
So we would be starting this one with Dexter, I guess, this time, right? Is that where we're going?
Yes. I think it's important to avail of our members that are experts in their field, right? Finance, people that are in business currently. And I also would like to point out that we have a lot of members that can. We need to give our members, and I think that it's important that we do give them that voice, allow them to be a part of this organization. We had a 20% turnout in the last election. That's unacceptable. I think we need to let them know that their voice will be heard.
In executive session in a board meeting, how are they going to have a voice? Where you have a voice in that. So how would you
They
maneuver
have
the
to be a
board to
part
do
of
what's
it.
right for the org?
I would definitely ask for advice from our members who have been doing this for a long time, like Ray. Yeah, it's very important that we give our members a voice. Just recently, they've announced that new members. I think that's not fair.
Okay. I'm not sure if you were done or if your mic cut off there, but if you're done, then we'll move to Luigi.
So you want different examples?
An example of you using influence to steer a group toward a decision you supported.
So I was on a board of my local club for I think almost 8 years. We needed there was a lot of changes that needed to happen, especially with the finances. With the experiences and the life that I've had, being able to have honest and open discourse to instill change with regards to finances, it's difficult. But cool heads, lots of conversation, open conversation. We can go ahead and get things changed, or I have gotten things changed. If you want another example, I was a research team lead way back in the day. Needed to change SOPs. Need to discuss with fellow scientists, how to change, why things have been done, um, and how to change them for the better. Were a few of the things that I've done with regards to changing something and influencing change.
Sounds good. That brings us up to Ray. How have
Okay.
you used your influence?
Well, that's kind of was a big part of my job at Gardner Denver. I spent 40 years at Gardner Denver, 25 of it as the lead designer for rotary screw air compressors. And if you think this board is dysfunctional, you should get a group of engineers, marketing guys, and purchasing guys in a room and try to coordinate them all together to put a product together on cost and on time. So that, I spent a lot of time working with big groups, of people on new designs at Gardner Denver, and it was challenging to make sure everybody was not butting heads and keep on pay on time and on target.
Sure. Steve, an example of how you've used influence in a group setting to direct
While
a decision you supported.
So while I was a member of the Multiple Listing Service Board of Directors for our real estate, which covered half of the state of West Virginia, we had to update our policies and procedures. There were 10 board members plus the board presidents. So as part of that update, I kind of went around to everybody else and gave them a personal call and found out what they found was important and where they placed the order of importance on each of those. Once I got that information together, we all took a look at it as a group, and it gave us being able to start conversations between one or two people and then expand that to three or four and then bring that influence together to get a vote on that, because it had been stagnant for 3 or 4 years because everybody would disagree fundamentally on a few things, such as what our fee structure should be, what the fee structure should be for those who failed to meet the criteria that we set forth, basically, punitive fees and stuff like that. For instance, if you created a listing and then didn't put it out there for 2 weeks so nobody else would see it so you could sell it, as to what the punishment for that would be. So I worked with everybody individually on the group to get a good consensus so that we could get that passed.
Okay. Okay, Todd, and you're bringing us home an example of how you've used influence in a group setting to affect the direction that you were supported.
Well, I have been in business for 35 years now, and everything from the firearms industry, dealing with people in the marketing side, people that are that I have to work with all the time, whether it be in manufacturing, dealing with stuff on the range over the years. I probably learned more about understanding people. I've running 19 men for years now in my air conditioned refrigeration business. And so with that business going on, you have to deal with all kind of personalities. You have to deal with all kind of diversity that goes on in this day and time. The most important is you got to keep everybody happy. You're not going to make everyone happy in everything you do in life. Some people will get their feelings hurt and some people will not. My thing is that I want to come in, we have a cohesive type of atmosphere where everybody gets along. I think we're all full-grown adults here that run this organization. We need to run it as an organization and understand the people that work with us. You're going to have personality problems wherever you go at. The biggest one thing that we have to worry about and be concerned about with here is that we have an end goal here, and what is our end goal here is to grow the organization the best way we can, and that's my number one goal for myself and the people that I'll be working with if I become president.
Sounds good. Dave, if you'd like, just because we got a lot of questions to get through, I'm happy to start keeping time and helping cover more of this ground if you like, because I don't think we're going to get where we want to get if we don't
right.
stay tight.
Start going by time,
right?
right? Yeah, that's fine. That would be good.
Okay.
I was.
30, you want 30 seconds?
Yeah, let's do 30. I was pretty happy to see nobody said blanket parties or soap in a sock, so that's good. All right. All right. So, Luigi, this question is going to start with you. And as president, you set the agenda and will be leading the board meetings. What changes would you make? Or how would you
Uh,
run it?
so the reason that I would make is the current agendas that get sent out.
Oh, boy.
They're very
Let's come back
sparse.
to Luigi. Luigi,
One of the reasons I
your
was
internet's
I'm
cutting out.
gonna,
We'll
I'm
wait till you
gonna,
get a better cell.
yeah, let me,
So let's start with somebody else. We'll come back to Luigi.
yeah.
all right. I muted Luigi, so Ray, go ahead.
Well, the agenda should be, really talking about where we're going to put the sport into the future. We got to get our financials straight, and then we've got to understand, what we want to do. If there's any changes to NRI we want to make, are there, additional programs we want to put in place, and and nationals. We need to talk about nationals. So I'd have agenda to that effect. I think really one of the big things
That's
would be
time.
what kind of budget we'd have for new clubs program.
Okay. Steve?
So, for me, I think the biggest part about having an agenda is being able to keep it short, sweet, and abrupt. I think our board meetings right now go too long and don't get to the point. So, I would place the agenda items in order of importance and make sure that anything that would require executive session is placed at the end, and hopefully be able to eventually get everyone to agree to televise or broadcast those meetings. Obviously not televise. I guess TV is an old term, but
Know what you mean.
Time. That's time. Well done. That was
Todd?
right on the nose.
Yeah, it
Made
was
the
good.
part-time, sir.
I'm cheating.
Made the part-time.
There you go. He's got his own shot.
He's got a timer. I like it. Todd?
Let me use my timer too.
So we're talking about agenda driven, here for the president, for the board. Obviously, I think everybody here has good intentions on trying to make the organization bigger. My one thing is that when I started shooting back in '83, by about 1990, we had probably around 4,000, 5,000 members, if I remember correctly, before the '90s were there. It's a shame that we were all talking about this, all the top guys, Rob Latham, all the guys that came along that period of time. We're going like, oh my God, we're going to have 100,000 members before we know it. And so for me personally, we should be at 100,000 members. I don't know why we're not there by now. There's been a lot of missteps along the way, and I feel that there are some aspects that the agenda we need to be able to have some type of 1 year, 3 year, and 5 year, even
Is that 1
potentially
minute?
10-year plans.
We're over a
for
minute
this to
now.
happen.
Okay. All right.
Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
No, you're fine.
I don't disagree with any of that though.
Right. But in order to keep it at a palatable level. Dexter, would you change anything with the way the
Yes.
meeting is
We're waiting for
driven?
Luigi.
That's all right. Go ahead. We'll hit Luigi at the end.
Okay. So anyway, I would definitely, USPSA is a great organization. We just need to be more transparent. There are things that USPSA has done that's great, but we need to focus on the things that are not great. Our finances that needs to be more transparent. Definitely with our finances, we need to be more transparent. I think each and every has the right to know where everything is and what we spend our money on. I think they have the right to be a part of that process. And that's pretty much it. Just want to,
Okay.
make sure that
Okay.
everyone participates.
Okay. All right, Luigi, we're going to come back to you since you cut out before.
Yeah, I hit a dead zone. But like I was mentioning before, the agenda is actually really sparse. And one of the reasons why the agenda is posted 10 days beforehand is so the membership can actually discuss what the agenda items are with the board members, because the board members are their representatives. And that would be the biggest thing. Is have the agenda that the membership can talk to their representative about, to bring to the actual board meeting and have proper representation.
Okay, it's time.
All right. All right. Good. Manny, we're up to you.
All
And
right.
we're starting with Ray.
All right. So, leading off of that last question, Ray, what are your thoughts on the state of the meeting minutes?
I think there's way too little transparency there. The meeting minutes to me show very little of what actually went on in the meeting, and they spend way too much time in executive session. And if they should at some point even summarize what they've said in executive session. I know you can't divulge all that, but they should spend some time trying to explain what happened, what went on in the minutes.
That's time. Okay, did we get through everybody, or where are we at?
We're at Steve now for this question.
Yeah.
So my answer to that is the first thing I would do is try to expand it. But we've come a light year in the last year. But there are still things like what was discussed and how it was discussed that I feel could be placed in. So I would like to see a little bit more detail. If we could broadcast those, it would definitely take that out and have a recording where people can go back and see that. It would take all the confusion out of the minutes.
Okay. You came in under par there. Well done.
Todd?
I didn't hear that question. You guys cut out on me here. I'm kind of lost. What was that question again? I apologize.
The question was, what are your thoughts on the state of the meeting minutes?
Well, I think everybody knows that the minutes meetings have been very confusing over the years. A lot of these things come out, and we don't get to hear about them. Like incidents, happened here recently. So I personally think that I agree with Steve. We need to be able to be more transparent here. I think these meetings need to be set up where more members can actually chime in, or may potentially have someone else to be able to relay that information to us in a more timely fashion, in my opinion.
Okay. And where are we in the order? Is that everybody?
It should be Dexter.
Dexter's last.
Okay. See, is number one, guys. I think when it comes to our minutes, what the agendas are. If we get to see those, and if they are posted somewhere, I would like to know. Transparency definitely is key to get this organization back in order.
Okay. I think we're at Luigi.
Yeah. So the minutes themselves currently, or in the past few years, have been abysmal. I mean, you have a board member referencing items that happened in a previous meeting that isn't in the minutes. All the boards that I've been a part of, I mean, the minutes are going to have what happens, who said what, how they said it. And if you don't have proper minutes, I mean, it's a government document.
Okay. Moving
Our
on to
time has
Ray.
expired.
Go ahead, Ray.
I've already gone on this question.
He started us
okay.
off. So now it's my turn,
right.
right? I get to ask the question.
You started off the questions.
All right.
Yes.
So there are 3 directors that are employed by the board of directors of which you will be a part. If any of those 3 directors are non-performing, how would you suggest reviewing performance for continued employment or dismissal? It seems like there's tremendous institutional inertia in the case of somebody non-performing, that they get to sit in the seat until they absolutely blow up, which I don't think serves the organization. So I'm curious how you would encourage review of those positions. So we started with Ray last time. That means takes us back to the top with Steve. So Steve, you're up.
So the first thing that I would do is, remember I talked about building this and doing it as a larger corporation. We need specific reviews set in place for every single position hired by our board. And those reviews should take place on an annual basis, because if you do any more than that, it's going to, it basically, in any type of employment, we have to give them a position to better themselves. So by putting it any longer of a separation, then we're not going to give them the
Okay, finish
chance
up.
to be able to better themselves or for us to do anything punitive to them.
So in summary, you want yearly annual reviews in front of the board
I want annual
approximately.
reviews that are by our policies and procedures required for every employee.
Okay. That brings us to Todd. You're up.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly with, what Steve has to say there on that. The biggest one problem that we have a good old boy system running the organization here. And a lot of times we put people on the board because nobody else wants to run. I mean, we end up with an Area 8 director or an Area 6 director, it doesn't matter. It's just somebody who wants to run. And sometimes that is a bad thing when you're running a nonprofit that's bringing in millions of dollars a year. I have said from the very beginning that it's very important that we have a CEO to run this company, this corporation, and that CEO really should actually inform the board. Do we need to hire a board of directors? Do we do that with someone outside the industry? That's important. I think this has been a problem since the very beginning of the organization. So not to say that
So
the people on the board are not great people, but it is a problem. I agree.
So in summary, you
Okay.
supported an executive that led reviews of these people
Yes.
with the reorganization. Okay. That brings us to Dexter. Dexter, you're up. How would you promote performance reviews amongst
I
the employees?
Yeah, I would do it monthly, not yearly. I think that if you're not performing, we could see that, right? So I believe that we need to definitely monitor each and everyone's time in the board. I would definitely encourage regular reviews if they're performing or not.
Okay. So annual reviews versus, or monthly reviews versus annual reviews. So more
I'd say
feedback so
monthly
that
review.
there's more opportunity. Okay. All right. That brings us
Yes.
to Luigi.
And we'll come back.
All right. So I feel like we need to
Oh,
get
can you blink
Ray here or
twice?
something like that.
I guess that means I'm up.
You're
Ray,
up.
yeah.
Okay, so having huge insight into how NRI is run versus how it's reported to the board, you got to dig a little deeper than just reviews, because I don't know how you're going to review a guy if unless you go deeper, and you're going to have to survey and go out to the people that work for these employees and who they're interacting with before you can really get into what they're doing. There needs to be a
Interesting. So you're proposing
closer
rather than a
scrutiny.
review, more of an audit, like using an audit to
Yes,
gather
because
their
just,
performance.
performance reviews at where I worked they were kind of a joke because half the time it's what the employee's telling you, or you really got to have to dig deeper and really audit what these people are actually doing.
Okay, very good. And Luigi, he's back now. So, Luigi, how would you promote
Yeah,
performance
I think I'm
reviews?
back on again.
Okay, ready to go?
Like Steve said, I mean, on the corporate side of things, performance reviews are
Okay. So you want to bring clarity to what the responsibilities and performance should be through updating job descriptions as well as then holding their feet to the fire, making them be accountable for what's in the JD. Okay.
We'll go
Dave,
with
that
that.
brings you back to the question.
It
What you
does.
got?
So, and this question starts with Todd. Todd, you and I live in an area where matches fill up very quickly. Some areas of the country don't fill up quite so quick, but do you have any plans to help clubs around the country that do fill up quickly?
Wow, it's a problem of time that we all deal with. You know, we can only shoot so many people through in a day's match. Whether we shoot 6 stages, 8 stages, 10 stages in a local match, like this weekend, we had 150 people end up shooting over a 2 day period. A lot of clubs now are shooting half a day on Saturday during setup and on the East Coast, and then they're going to Sunday, and then creating another 100 shooters. That's the only way we can do this. Sub clubs don't have that ability. I would love to be able to go out there and work with NSSF and some other organizations and figure out how we can get some more clubs on the ground nationwide. Whether we go after some grants somewhere along the way, there's grant money that it has been sitting around for years. I've been looking at and been talking to people about. There are things that we can do. Yeah, it's really a tough situation. Ray knows how that, and all of us know how we can go out there and try to figure out how to get more
Okay.
people through. It's just a tough game to do that for.
Okay. Dexter.
Yes, sir. Um, I went to a few IDPA matches and consulted with them. I'm like, we need, instead of bickering about USPSA and IDPA, we need to unite. Because to me, shooting is shooting, regardless of what you use. But in our local matches, we also do Saturday and Sunday, like Todd says. We have between 150 to 200 shooters in one weekend. Um, it's a lot of people to run, and I I visit a lot of our local ranges who does not have that much
Okay.
participation, and encourage some of our members to visit them as well, because we do have a lot of ranges that have a lot of participation. But I think encouraging people to visit other ranges is also key.
Okay.
Okay.
Luigi.
You guys cut out. What question are we on?
So the question is, there are certain areas in the country that the matches fill up rapidly, like literally in minutes. Do you have a plan to try to help those clubs or those areas that have a plethora of people?
So that's a wonky situation because some areas are very limited in their facilities that they have. Like Todd mentioned, if you go to Ontolani, I mean, they're doing Saturday, Sunday local matches. If you come down to South Florida, we got OK Corral that does Saturday, Sunday local matches. Not everyone has the local support to be able to put on multiple events. We just need to see about starting other clubs and having organizational support for the local events to try to maximize the opportunities that we have locally.
Okay.
Okay.
It's time.
Perfect. Ray.
Oh, well, I agree with what everybody said, but there's one other aspect of it. I worked with a club out of Houston, and in the same club, they had 4 different groups putting on matches every weekend. So if you've got 100+ people working or wanting to shoot the match, we need to promote the volunteerism and get some of those people to pick a weekend and have them run the match at that club. So basically, so you could have 2 clubs running out of the same place, and people aren't overloading, trying to get people through
Okay.
and shoot.
Okay. Steve.
So I think all the best answers may have already been hit upon. Just to recap, the areas that have the high enough population to be able to get that many people out there, we need to try to foster new clubs, whether that be with grants to help fund that new club or just get people the idea and give the other folks the support that they need and help the other club support a new club to start up, because that's really the only way that you're going to be able to not have them fill up just within a few minutes. One of the things that'll help them with filling up is by having them to volunteer.
Okay.
If you volunteer first, you get to shoot first. You get to register first. So that methods like that will help increase volunteerism and hopefully eventually increase the number of clubs available.
Okay. Excellent. All right. Manny, we're on to the next one.
What would you, as president, do to increase engagement in USPSA? You know, like voting, ROing, and match directors and the such.
Who starts
Dexter.
on this one? Who do we start with? Dexter? Okay.
Yeah, it's Dexter.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm already pretty new with our club, and we definitely emphasize to volunteer in our ranges. I volunteer at our local matches to build, to RO, and I think as USPSA shooters, we need to be the ambassador for Second Amendment, and I mean, we have what, millions of people that are armed,
Okay,
but we
Luigi.
only have what, 40,000 members.
Okay.
So there is no incentive to be a volunteer. There's no incentive to go out and vote, to RO, to do any of this stuff. I mean, it's all based off of the local club saying, hey, if you help set up our match, then you can shoot for free. Or if you RO this match, then you can your match fees comped. There's no real incentive top down. We, as an organization, we need to figure out a plan, either with like quarterly raffles or something like that. Hey, if you work X amount of matches, you can put it in, and I mean, we have enough sponsors in the sport. I mean, there's enough product that comes into the organization that we can do something to incentivize.
So find ways to incentivize volunteerism.
Yes.
Ray.
Okay, I don't disagree with all those, but I think it, going back to the early days, it was more about coming out and shooting and having fun with your friends and building things and doing it together than it was trying to incentivize people to shoot. It was a shared thing, like going out and playing golf with your buddies. You're not winning anything, so we have to build that camaraderie. We have to work with the local clubs so they know how to bring new people in and treat them right. One of the worst things I've ever seen at local club matches is
Okay.
somebody new comes in and they shun them and they don't really talk to them. We have to get over that.
I think we lost Ray there.
Ray's back. Steve?
So I think that it's imperative that we open lines of communication directly to our clubs. That is the largest way to affect the biggest amount of people, is creating simple policies, things that help out with our match directors, how to get other people involved. And as a match director, I've never had anybody from headquarters or DNRI reach out to me to ask anything or even push out information to me. So I think that's the biggest part, is creating that line of communication from headquarters to the club. And by getting that line out, people will feel that they're more invested. And it starts with the club, and it moves on down to the individual membership with their willingness and feeling of involvement in that club.
Todd.
Well, of course, this game has always been a volunteer game from the very beginning. Like Ray said, we're talking about volunteers. We did this because we love the sport, we love the game, and it didn't matter what it took. We were there, rain or shine, setting up stages, tearing things down, designing new props, designing new targets. Basically, every single month something would come up. You get groups of people that you get great volunteers that cycle through for 8 or 10 years. They come and then they go. And you get a new cycle of volunteers that come in. We volunteer for one thing. We volunteer because we love the game. It's about the love of the sport and love about shooting. For me, I just I don't know how in the world we can ever get anything, make it more simple and get more people involved. We're not shooting sporting clays here. We just call pull. There's so much time and effort that goes into building stages and
Okay.
building these things. Volunteerism is going to be our biggest one thing that we need to push, and that's my opinion on it.
Okay. All right, David, it's back to you.
It's back around to me. Okay, so
Yep. You and
as
Luigi.
everybody is aware, Yi-Min Lin was removed from the presidency for his conduct and how he conducted himself. This is a sport, but it's a hobby. It's a way to hang out with your friends. I mean, we fraternize on the range. That's what we do. But if you are chosen as president, how will you conduct yourself as being the figurehead for USPSA at major matches? Is there anything that you may change about what you do today? And so, who are we starting with? I lost track of who we're going with.
I think it's me.
Luigi. It's Luigi.
Luigi, you're the one going first on this one? Okay.
I probably wouldn't change anything. I mean, yes, there is an issue, or there was an issue with the former president, technically. But I mean, you guys have all known me for years. What you see is what you get. Can I turn up the professionalism just a little bit? Yeah, but as is, it's you. I'm not going to change much.
Okay.
Okay.
That brings us to Ray.
Okay, so I'm not going to change my performance much at all either. I think if anybody's everybody's seen me work nationals. I've been to 110 plus nationals, and the level of professionalism that I think I show. I hope it speaks for itself. I'll do the same thing as president. It just you just need to be, the only thing that I would change is maybe I listen a little more when people are talking to me. That's a big thing. You have to listen before you can really get there.
Okay. Brings us back around to Steve.
So I've pretty much ran the gamut of levels of professionalism and unprofessionalism on a range. Not that I ever treated anyone as disrespectful as it has been put there, but when you're the president, you have to know that all eyes are completely on you. So that means leave nothing to doubt and leave no chance for people to be offended. If somebody says that something offends them, make sure that you don't do that action in front of them, and make sure that everyone there is comfortable. When I say I've been at every level, I've been paying for myself. I've been an RO, a CRO. I've been paid by a corporation to represent them there. So that different levels of professionalism is required at each one of those. So I feel that I pretty much wouldn't change anything about myself other than making sure that I am at the most professional level possible when I'm representing USPSA on the range. And it doesn't matter what you're doing at that point, you are representing USPSA because you have that title.
Okay. That brings us back to Todd.
Well, being professional is something that I've tried to do my entire career. Have we got off track somewhere along the way? I think we all have somewhere along the way. Yes, if I'm elected president, you have to have a standard that's higher than anybody else on the range. And for me personally, I want that professionalism coming at a higher standard, even for myself. So I'm looking for one thing and one thing only. I think that we all need to step up and watch what's going on and pay attention and be as professional as we can, because there's so many other people looking at us, not only in the gun world, but things that are happening outside on the 2A community. We need to be at the point where we need to pay more attention to that. And everything, would it be online or would it be on the range?
Okay. And that brings us back to Dexter.
Yes, I definitely, I'm professional when it comes to ROing and CROing. I wouldn't change much. We do have our funds here and there, but definitely watch our language when we're around kids and women. But yeah, to me, I wouldn't change much either.
Okay.
Well, Dave, that brings us through.
It does. Back to me, and Ray will be the individual that gets the question. So this is a yes no question with why to support your answer. And do you think the sport, the USPSA, is running well?
Yes, but more on the local level because, here's the reality is 75% or more of the local clubs have no idea what's going on the national level. They pay no attention to it. So as far as just going into a local club and shooting, I think most clubs do a great job. The problem that it's nationals and all the rule changes with very little notification or input from the membership.
Okay.
Okay.
Steve.
I'm going to answer it no, because the only level that right now is concerning is at the board level. And the reason I feel that no is I feel that the board is not being open enough and not creating enough unity with everything that's going on. And we don't have a good solid budget. We don't have good plans going into the future. So to be well ran, I think all of those are a good solid requirement.
Okay. Todd.
Okay.
Well, I like to be neutral on both this. I'm kind of yes and no. I'm with Ray, and I'm also with Steve there. Exactly what they're saying. So, yes, there are things at the top as far as the organization, how it needs to be run. I think it needs to. There's some things that we need to look at, and we need to look at that sooner than later. When it comes to the local level, I agree with Ray 100%, because all the local clubs, a lot of these people that could care less about what goes on with the board or even at the nationals. We got people who just want to come out and shoot. They just want to have fun, and I think it's up to us to make sure that we bridge that
Okay.
from the top organization back down to membership and get more involved in that side of the local level. See what we can do there to drive more people to the shooting sport.
Okay.
Okay. Dexter.
Yes, I say yes. The USPSA is doing something great, but we do need to be more transparent. We need to involve our members more. There are a lot of things that we need to take care of, and there are a lot of things that USPSA has been doing great at a local level. We're doing incredible. We have our members are participating almost 100% with building and things like that. So I would say yes.
Okay. And Luigi.
I'm gonna split that one into two parts though. The sport is fine. The sport's doing great. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's affiliated and sanctioned with USPSA or if you have these outlaw matches, these hit factor matches. The sport itself is fine. If USPSA, the organization, went defunct tomorrow, we're still going to go to the range. We're still going to shoot matches. The sport's fine. The organization, not so much.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So, Manny, we're back to you, and you will be starting with, I have down Steve.
All right. So, Steve, how can we make USPSA much more of a household sport name, and how would you want to do that?
I spoke about this some on my last term. Some of those things have started to happen by working with our partners, and everybody that I've talked to, that I've interviewed, that I've listened to be interviewed, as soon as they found out about shooting sports, they were enamored with it and they moved on in this competition world. So I think just getting our name out there and marketing in one way is doing it. I have seen a few of our actual ads on Facebook from USPSA recently. That's one of the many things that needs to be done to get our name out there. The more people that see it, the more people that are exposed to it, the better off we're going to be. That, and we can create other methods for. I'm sorry, time's up. Thank you very much.
And Todd?
Mhm.
I think it's my turn.
Yes.
Yes. So for me personally, I have been involved in other organizations over the years. I have worked with the NRA and tried to get them on board with us a few years ago. That fell on deaf ears. I had something set up with them. I also worked with NSSF on some stuff years ago that fell on deaf ears. Recently I made a contact with a good friend of mine who is the director of USA Shooting. I think Donna Webb has already been contacting him. See, we're doing stuff with that. But these organizations, we need to be able to get involved with them. By getting involved with those organizations,
Okay.
what is that going to do for us? It's going to give us more face time. Also, on top of that, we need to take a page out of NASCAR, what they did years ago. These guys who are the top shooters, the Nils, the JJs, the Maxes, these guys need to be the face of the organization. And I've said for years, when you put a face to an organization as a personality, you will drive more people to that sport. And it's working in NFL, it's working in football, it's worked everywhere over the years. So that's just my opinion on that.
Okay.
All right.
So just a follow-up question to that, simply because that's a curious thought. So would the organization in your mind pick who their brand ambassadors, if you wanted to call it that, for the year would be?
Who would they be?
No, I'm just saying, would the organization sanction and be like, okay, this year we're going to give exposure to Max, JJ, and Nils or whatever, and that would come from the organization level in your mind?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
All right.
Dexter, the question is yours.
Yes. Yeah. So to me, myself as USPSA shooter, I think we should be the ambassador for the Second Amendment, and to me, I'm also a DA firearms instructor, and a lot of students I introduce into USPSA. I definitely are more focusing on the juniors and our seniors, because I believe that the juniors are the future of the sport, and our seniors has a lot to offer to definitely share to juniors, not just about shooting, but life in general.
Excellent. We are back to Luigi.
We all have guns, and guns in this day and age are a touchy subject. It's on the national news and all that stuff. So what we need to do is we need to band together between, like Todd was touching upon, get all the firearm corporations, all the Second Amendment foundations, and the different sports. I mean, why don't we have better communications with IDPA, with trap and skeets, or any of the other sports?
Okay.
We all need to band together and try to bring this to the layperson in every way that matters. Social media. I know we're a not-for-profit, so we can't really lobby, but we can do other things to bring USPSA to be a household name.
All right. Now, Ray, back to you.
Well, I agree with that a lot, but we need to create not just top name shooters, but we need to create ads that show families shooting, kids shooting, and that kind of thing, along with the top end shooters. You really need to show the full depth of the sport, and the full depth of the sport is not just the top end shooters. It's the family day at the range, shooting and having fun. That's what we need to promote if we're really going to grow the sport.
Okay.
All right. That should be everybody, David.
Okay. So this originally was written as 2 questions, but I'm lifting this from Scott Jedlinski. He has 2 things. What do people need to start doing? What do people need to stop doing? So I want to apply that question to the organization. So I need you each to pick one thing that USPSA needs to start doing and one thing USPSA needs to stop doing that you would be pushing for as president. Who are we starting with, Dave?
Todd.
So Todd, if you could give me one thing that USPSA should start doing today and then one thing that USPSA should stop doing, And then we'll go a minute on this one because that's basically 2 questions.
Yeah. Well, personally, I think we need to get back to the original roots of this organization is that we treat everybody as that we want to be treated. So, we get to the point where the organization has gotten away from that, and we have gotten to a point where it's sharper with new members coming on the range. So, I think it's about one thing when we go on the range, everybody should be equal. And when I get up there and on the line, I want to make sure that you are the person that I want you to treat me like I'm going to be treated, no matter what. Well, I'm seeing we're getting away from that in the last 10 years, and things are happening there. Far as getting something else, I mean, that's a loaded question, and we could take 10 minutes to load that question on there. So I say need to get back to hardcore respect. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Okay. That's going to bring us to Dexter. If we could start doing something and stop doing something for USPSA, what would they be for maximum good?
I would say that we need to start promoting more junior programs, like the MGM program that MGM Targets did a while back. That really promoted USPSA greatly. Max Michelle was involved with that. Um, and what USPSA needs to probably stop doing is, I would just definitely, want the organization to be a lot more transparent. As a nonprofit, I think we have the duty to be transparent to not only our members, but follow the law.
Very succinct. All right. Luigi, you're up. What's one thing USPSA should start doing and one thing USPSA should stop doing?
USPSA, the organization, needs to start having open lines of communications between the board, between headquarters, between the membership. So communication, transparency, that's what they need to start doing. What they need to stop doing is fiscal irresponsibility. I mean, they need to stop hemorrhaging money left and right, which has been the norm for the past few years.
Okay. We've got 30 more seconds if you want to expand on that.
I'm good on that.
All right. You're good. All right. Ray, start doing and stop doing.
Okay, I think, I've talked about this before tonight, is we've got to start giving more support to the local clubs. And, that's the key to growing the sport. We have to support the local clubs and the junior programs and on and do more advertising. Things we need to stop doing. We need to stop being so divisive in everything we do. The board's made a lot of bad decisions, but they've been put in such a position that no matter what they did, they were going to be wrong. So, how do you fix that? We just need to stop the divisiveness and quit attacking each other and listen and be communication to each other. Otherwise, we're not going to get this done. We're going to implode on ourselves if we keep fighting amongst ourselves.
Okay. And that's going to bring us back to Steve.
So what we need to start doing is getting our name out there, working with our partner organizations to push ourselves out there as much as we possibly can. As I was going to state earlier, I think we need an absolute following of what we have right now. Basically make every USPSA member a brand ambassador. Work on a structure that rewards people for bringing other people into our sport. That's where the internet's gone, most companies have gone, and I think that's the biggest thing we need to focus on right now is getting our sport in front of more people. And we can leverage our partnerships to do that. What we need to stop doing, we need to stop doing negative things to our organization. First of all, we have to have a budget, and we need to cut that budget and get it back there. We also need to stop breaking our bylaws. We need to follow Robert's Rules of Order. We need to follow our bylaws, what was written, and do that whether it's painful or whether it's something we want to do or not.
Okay.
We need to stop circumventing good practices, basically.
Okay.
All
And
right.
Dave, we're back to you.
Yeah, we're back to me and back to Todd. Okay. So one of the things Ray was talking about stop being divisive. One of the things that has caused people's dander to rise is the banning of members of the USPSA. Now, there are occasions where it's necessary, but it seems to have created a stir. In your opinion, what are some infractions that do justify a ban? And Todd, we'll start with you.
Well, I've been working on this for about a month now. A lot of people have been upset about this, but I feel that we need a code of conduct within the organization. I started searching around doing some investigative work and found out all these companies and other shooting organizations around the world with a code of conduct. First of all, we don't have one. When you have one or two people making decisions about an individual instead of a group of people or having a code of conduct, we need to have that in place. So if an individual who does something to actually hurt the organization that could cause a problem where we could get sued, that is a situation that we need to be able to potentially get rid of that individual. It's an ongoing thing. We've had several incidents in the past. We have several incidents that are taking place now, and my opinion is we need to have it straight today.
Okay. Dexter.
Yeah, can you repeat the question again?
Yes. So in the recent past, we've had some people get banned, and it's caused a lot of heartburn. In your estimation, in your opinion, what are some things that justify a ban of membership?
It would have to be criminal. To me, I think a lifetime ban would definitely be detrimental to the shooter. We as a shooter,
We go out to shoot for fun with our friends and family, right? So basically, to me, if you give someone a lifetime ban, that's almost a death sentence. I work in a prison. That's not good. I think we should do that as a group to if we wanted to ban someone, but I would not. I don't believe in the lifetime ban. I think maybe a suspension, but not a lifetime ban, because that's to me as a shooter that would be my death,
Okay.
Okay.
and I
Luigi.
don't believe that.
For bans, cheating would be number one. Uh, th- if you don't have the honor to uphold, egregious cheating, then it's like, why are we even doing this? I mean, this is a sport at the end of the day. If not, why would we even keep score? Another thing would be assault. I mean, yeah, we're all type A, high testosterone guys and gals. I mean, we're going to have arguments, but I mean, you lay your hands on someone, you threaten someone, you pull a gun on someone, you got to go. And then malicious
That's time.
endangerment. All right.
Okay. We get the idea. Ray.
Again, go with Luigi on this. If there's assault or stealing or something of that nature, that should be a ban, or cheating. But there's the borderline stuff. Like, okay, the reality is, some of the current directors have in front of me performed simple assault. And simple assault is getting in somebody's face and cussing them out. In many states, that's considered to be simple assault. So you can't just say assault. Is that worth banning? I don't know. But it's a very hard topic, and we must not do it the way we're doing it. We have to have some sort of better communication and a way to have a board
It's
that
time.
decides this.
Okay. So Ray, basically you're saying You would go
I agree.
suspension before you went ban, depending on the egregiousness
Yes,
of whatever it occurred.
yes, yeah.
Okay.
And a deeper investigation to really, to see what's going on. It can't just be left up to a couple people, you know,
Okay.
if there's an investigation, you know, and there's a ban, okay, let's send a new set of eyes on it and try to work through it that way and see if they come up with the same thing.
Okay. Steve.
So I'm against the whole ban thing to begin with. It solved absolutely nothing. That was my question before it happened: is what it's going to solve? And it solved nothing because these guys weren't doing stuff. A lot of it at matches, it was just a bunch of internet stuff. I think the first thing we need before we even think about a code of conduct, because we just outed the guy for conduct that was a proponent of the code of conduct. So the first thing we need to do is a list of what we as an organization should do to communicate to that individual that they are doing something that is not good to the organization. Obviously, some of us think that would be something obvious that people would understand. If somebody commits a criminal offense, that is something that should have them removed from the organization for that. And besides that, obviously cheating would be, but I think we need a better method of putting this out there to the, hey, stop doing this or we're going to take an action, and then have our actions listed of what we can do, not just wait till the end, run it in front of a group and ban someone.
Okay. All right. So that brings us to the end of that question. So, Manny, it's back to you, and Dexter will be the first one to get your question.
Real quickly, I just want to say, guys, appreciate you, but I got to jump off. So good luck to everybody, and appreciate you guys taking the time out of your days to participate. But I got to go connect with the fam. So see you guys.
All right.
Thanks, David.
Thanks, David.
Thanks.
David.
Have a good evening.
All right.
No time limits now.
Thank you, guys.
Oh, no,
Chaos.
don't worry. I'll keep time at this point. Unfortunately, this is a question. You said, let me see. We're starting with Dexter, I believe.
Yes.
Yes, Dex.
As we are a region of IPSC, as the president, how will you strengthen that relationship?
We have an organization that's planning to go to the World Shoot in less than 3 years to South Africa. We're already involving our local match. We would tear down each of our matches and put in EPSIC targets. And we do have experts from EPSIC that will come and train us. We definitely, and EPSIC is the world stage. USPSA is pretty small compared to EPSIC. So I think if you want to get into the world stage, you need to be close to IPSC. USA needs to work together with IPSC, and even IDPA is closer to IPSC, so we need to work with them.
All right, time. Thank you,
Okay.
Dexter. Luigi.
So the first time I traveled out of country for an IPSC match was in
I'm done.
2015. I've been shooting international since 2013, I think was my first one.
You're welcome.
So personally, I have a lot of relationships with different RDs from all over the world. Todd Jarrett probably has a lot of the same relationships as I do. We already have that support system and that communication system in place. We just need to call upon that and bring us, I wouldn't say more in line with IPSC, but we need a better understanding and more IPSC in this country, just so we can have a better relationship with our parent organization.
All right, time. Thank you, Luigi. Ray, we are to you.
Yeah, we need to, open the lines of communications and we need to talk to the IPSC folks and see if there's any, common ground we can come to. But, we've done such a poor job of doing that in the past, and that's not, a knock on USPSA. It's a knock on both of us, because IPSC is very hard-headed and USPSA has been very hard-headed. And without sitting down and talking, you're never going to get anywhere. We need IPSC, but IPSC also needs USPSA because we are the biggest voting body.
Thank you. And we are now to Steve.
So I feel that we strengthen that relationship the same way you strengthen any relationship by, reaching across the table and having a nice chat with them. Uh, like we have been married to IPSC for many, many years. That's been rocky at different times through different presidents. But the bottom line is we need to help them in the way that we support our shooters, because there's a lot of times our slots don't get filled, and our shooters going to the World Shoot and other large matches don't get the support that I believe they should. So I think that we can better support our shooters in going there, and that will increase and strengthen our relationship.
All right. Thank you. And to Todd.
Well, I have a different opinion on this. I think we need to work on our own house here first. I think we need to get our own house in order within USPSA. I know all those guys. I've traveled around the world 12 times. I've shot, several dozen of matches around the world over the years. I understand how the politics works in that, and it goes up and down. Whether it's one of our presidents or their president, it's a constant battle, and it has been. And I know Ray knows about that because we've had, IPSC matches here in the States over the years. I personally know a lot of the people that are running IPSC, and I'm friends with them. I had some conversation with them recently. So one thing leads to another. Yeah, we need to be able to respond to their actions, and they need to respond to us. This is a two-way street here. We are 50% of the world's, body of shooters, and we need to be able to get a little bit more respect sometimes on that side. I get it. I know where we're coming from. So I'll be glad to be able to entertain that with those boys.
All right. David, back to you.
All right. So we're going to start with Luigi on this one. Now, Bianchi Cup just changed hands again to CMP, but they're keeping it in the same place. Same match location it's always been. I could be wrong here, but I believe in the early days of USPSA, Nationals was held in the same place all the time. Now, Nationals is, aside from setting the agenda for the meeting, for the BOD meeting, the Nationals is one of the big things, one of the big responsibilities for the USPSA president. What are your thoughts on locations and type of Nationals?
So
and Luigi, that one's you.
that's a really loaded question.
It is.
And we'll see what we can do and how we can answer that.
Okay.
Location. Ray Hirsch was the range master for the Classic for many years, and it was always held in Illinois. There aren't many ranges in the country that could hold what we should consider a national event. So what we need to do is make a list of all of those ranges. I mean, I can name a handful off the top of my head, but not many more than that. I know Jake Martins has scouted a lot more, but unless we know what those locations and the facilities are, we wouldn't be able to discuss where we would want it to go. We don't own property. We don't own a range, so we can't have it at our place. And having contracts only go so far with the timing. Format. We lose money on nationals every year, and we lose a lot of money on nationals every year. So before we go into that side of things, we need to see what the budget is and what our financial situation is currently. I mean, we don't even have our audit from last year, so I can't really answer that truthfully or honestly unless we have more data to get a better answer. But
Okay.
yes, one nationals would be cool. But Carry Optics is at 500 and something, and they're with a 200-person wait list. Open Nationals is at a 100-person wait list with 400 and something shooters. Everybody wants to shoot everything, and we just need to find the places that can do it.
Okay. Ray.
I I'd like to be able to move it around the country so people could actually drive to at least one nationals. But the reality is, there's just not the ranges out there. There's Cardinal, and passes just completely out because of the range owner. It's a fantastic place, but it's just not a venue you could go to anymore. There's Cardinal, there's Talladega, and and Frostproof is out now because of, the range ownership there again. So, you know, we need to find some new places. I know there's a range coming on in Tennessee in a few years, and Volusia is definitely big enough. I don't know that we've engaged them. That would be a great place to have it on a rotating basis. So, I would work with having, whatever place, we need to move it around.
Thank you.
I think it definitely needs to be moved around. I think the ranges are there. I think the support is there, and I think that's one of the best parts about nationals is getting it to everyone. Most of the people that I've talked to that have went to nationals, that has spurred them to go bigger and do bigger things in our sport. I think it's extremely important that we have nationals to be available in different areas within a driving time and to be able to have those matches. The ranges are there, they're available. It just takes time getting them there. And that's what we have been doing, maybe not as much as was done in the past, but I feel that it definitely needs moved around.
Yeah, there are plenty of ranges in this country to hold a nationals. I mean, we've been shooting on for years. You just got to know who to go talk to and set that up. I know probably 15 places we could go and hold it. My recommendation is that we lose the damn nationals every year because of funding. I mean, we're losing money, like Lugie said. We're always in the red when it comes to doing that. I got a recommendation is why don't we hold all 8 championships at area championships? So have an area championship coincide with the West Nationals. So if you want to go to Area 2 next year and you want to shoot, and so we're set up to run the Cariopics Nationals there. So what happens is it'll still be the Area 2 championship. You can still shoot any gun you want, but we'll include that as a national championship. Now, will everybody be able to shoot that? Probably not. But the thing about it is now we can have 8 nationals nationwide. People can drive. They could shoot every single nationals if they wanted to. So now we can use staff on hand that's going to be local. We bring in a short amount of headquarters in to be able to run that. And in most all these area matches, every single one of them are in the black when it gets finished. And think about it. Most of them hold 400, 450 shooters at every area match, except Area 5 here recently and Area 6.
Wow, that was great, Todd. I agree with Todd. That's a great idea. I think we should look into that. I think we have a lot of places to go to. Even in California, there's places that we can go to that can hold that, but people are afraid because of the gun laws and things like that. But yeah, there's plenty of places that we can go to. We just need to explore those.
Thank you. All right, so this question kind of leads off of the last one. As our sport's growing and the popularity of carry optics, it's harder and harder to getting to some national level events. What is one thing or one idea you would like to present to help remedy this problem with national slots?
Well, that's a tough situation because it's all about the money and bring if you're going to expand the number of people that are shooting the match, you have to expand the staff and the time they're there and the money. That's really tough situation. And if you go for 4 days now, you have to go to like 24 stages, 6 a day for 4 days. So, in order to put more people in the match, you have to go a longer period. So, that's the only way it can be done. If that's what the membership wanted, that's what we should do. But I wouldn't do that unless we somehow polled the membership and try to figure out exactly how they wanted to hold nationals. And I would do my best to do what the people, USPSA membership wanted. That's what I would do.
Thank you, Ray. Now we are back to Steve.
So this question is kind of a loaded question. There's a lot of little things that we could do
Mm-hmm.
to increase a few people here or a few people there. The bottom line is, with certain divisions, that match really needs to be bigger. It really needs to be able to hold 800 people at some of those matches.
Yeah.
And as Ray said, those are going to be painful growing pains in the fact that we have to have more staff, or we have to reduce the amount of time each person spends on a stage. And then, in order to do some of that, we may have to increase the stages. I think if the demand is there, well, first things first, and most importantly, as Todd said earlier, we can't keep losing money on this stuff. We have to be able to have that as a quantifiable or expected loss or gain and not be losing money. So the price of nationals is about the same as it was in 2008. I'm not saying we should make it actuarial right at this moment and increase it exponentially, but I think the price of that needs to go up. And I think that if that price does go up somewhat, that some of that wanted participation will go down.
Thank you, Steve. We are now to Todd.
I think I already answered that question.
It's very similar to the last question. This is how can we make nationals take all the people that it wants?
Oh, well, well, the thing about it is that I don't really agree with that in a lot of ways. I think that, like Ray was talking about having 24 stages, I don't think we need 24 stages. Why can't we have 18? Why can't we have 15? And then to a point where I just don't think that quantity is necessary. I think, think about what I said a while ago about having maybe the national championships hit all the area matches. Every region has its own flavor of type of matches that you're going to have. Area 8 is going to have a totally different, style or flavor than it is at Area 2 or Area 1 or Area 3. The thing about it is that we need a different flavor for the nationals. I've only shot a couple of hundred of these damn things, and they get boring. And I want to see some more, more adventure into these stages. I mean, I can tell you right now, back in the day, I mean, they would set stages up, take them a month to build them, and it would be fabulous. And it may not be but a 24-round stage, but people they always remembered those things. And these are the things we need to get back to, in my opinion. So, yeah, a lot of people may not like that, but I don't think we need to have 600 or 700 people at the nationals. Why can't we do quality 350 shooter or the best shooters in the country?
Thank you, Todd. And Dexter, we are to you.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with that too. I don't think that we need to um, increase it. I think quality will speak, louder than quantity, and it doesn't necessarily mean that we need to have, all 600 shooters there, or even the stages. They don't need to have 24 stages. I think 20 should be enough.
Okay. Luigi?
So the question was, how do we accommodate all the people who want to go to nationals, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have we have a limited supply and a huge amount of demand. Now, on the business side of things, there's a very simple solution to that. Is that something that I would want to do? No, but like a lot of the decisions that would need to be made, not everyone's going to be happy. So, one, World Shoot's $500 to get in. Any level 4 match that you go to, or level 4 IPSC match, which are the big regional ones, they're going to be 400 plus. Our nationals are, I think this year was 300, and they've been 280 or so for the past few years. So there was a price increase this year, and that still didn't kill off our demand. Unfortunately, raise the cost of entry. would reduce that number, or we make the match bigger, which would cost us a lot more for all the aforementioned reasons. But it'd have to be a mix of everything. Increase spaces, increase cost, make it better, lose less money.
Well, thank you. Now we're back to you, Dave.
All right. And Ray, you started that, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now, recently, just a year ago, we went through a bunch of bylaw changes that also caused some consternation with some individuals due to lack of communication. As you are one of 9 board members, what would you do to establish communications with the membership to help alleviate those issues? And Steve, with your first.
So, to increase the communication, like I said previously, we need to increase our communication overall so that people know what's out there. I think the written question was also about how often. And so, to back up, and I'm going to kill the time on this one, I know. We didn't make any changes for a long, long time. And then we made them all at once. I think we need to set up a specific amount of time for each section of the bylaw. So whether we want to do this every 3 years or every 5 years, the bylaws need looked at and changes recommended by the bylaws committee. This is something I have experience in with the local emergency planning committee, and each specific part of that needs looked at on a certain schedule, and then those changes are made on that schedule, not made just whenever someone decides that they want to make them. So when people know that that's coming up, they can look at it and say, hey, we feel this way or we feel that way. So if you communicate that, 2024 is going to be the bylaws change about, divisions or nationals or whatever segment we make about that, then people can plan their thoughts, their decisions, and stuff for that part of the committee. And then have it on a cyclic rate so that each section is done every so many years, so that a complete version is updated every 3 or 5 years, whatever the board would decide.
Okay. Todd. We don't hear you.
I don't see him either.
He's frozen on my end. So Dexter, we're going to go to you.
Can you repeat the question, please? I'm sorry.
Yes. So when they updated the bylaws, that also caused some consternation with the membership, and there seemed to be some communication gaps. So what would you, as president, one of 9 board members, do to help bridge that communication gap?
We need to be transparent with our members. We need to let them know the changes and things like that. I think that's very important, that we need to involve the members in the decision making, and anything major needs to be definitely communicated to our members.
Okay. Luigi.
So, like I mentioned in one of the previous questions, our agenda is sparse. We had just last week, we had an announcement of a bylaw change, or a recommended bylaw change, but there was no set schedule on when that discussion was going to take place. Membership may or may not have had any discussions with their representatives. It was sort of a non-issue bylaw change, and it was understandable. But we need to have better agendas and better lines of communication and openness between the membership, their area directors, and the president as well. I mean, the president is one of the 9 votes.
Correct. Okay. Ray.
Yeah, we have to have way better communication than we have now. The problem is that we have no good vehicle to get that communication out there. We have to find a vehicle to push that out there. If Practice Score can send out email to everybody and everybody gets it, why can't USPSA find a way to poll their membership and get that out there. So we have a good consensus of what the membership wants. It's about the membership. It's not about the board of directors, what they want, or, it's what the membership wants. And we should try to find out what that is.
Okay. Well, I was going to go back to Todd, and he decided to disappear again. I think he's playing peekaboo.
Peekaboo. Okay.
All right. So what we'll do is, since we're at, I'm showing the timer an hour 50. I know we didn't start exactly at that time, but if you look at Luigi, it's already dark behind him. So we'll let Manny ask one more question, and then we'll move to the end and give everybody an opportunity to speak.
All right. So here's my
So bring it
final-
home, Manny.
My final question for you, candidates, is this is a scenario. You win the election, but prior to taking office, you are required to sign a conflict of interest document that states you're not allowed to accept sponsorship money or cannot have an affiliation with the industry businesses that might have influence on decisions within the organization. What do you do?
And that normally would be Todd, but we'll start with Dexter since he got in halfway through the question.
Yeah, I didn't hear the question. Sorry.
So we'll start with Dexter, and we get back to you, Todd. We'll let you answer both.
Got it.
Okay. Can you repeat that question for Todd?
Yeah, absolutely. So here's the scenario. You win the presidential USPSA election, but prior to taking office, you're required to sign a conflict of interest document saying, you're not allowed to accept sponsorship money or cannot have an affiliation with an industry business that could influence decisions within the organization. What would you do?
Okay. So for me, it's definitely something that I need to sign. I think everyone should sign. You shouldn't be in the pocket of any organization, especially when it comes to, changes within the organization that might influence by your sponsorship by a certain company. I definitely would have to sign that. Yeah.
To Luigi,
Okay.
then.
Hey man, you said that that's more of a scenario thing, but that's actuality. I mean, every board member, president and officer, when they sign when they come on, they have to sign our conflict of interest policy. And sometimes it goes so far as they have to list the current sponsors that they do have. But it's a non-issue. I mean, hey, you can't take sponsorship money, you can't take product, you can't insubstantial products. Yeah, sign it. Like, let's go. Nobody. I didn't get into the sport to make any money. I mean, shit. If you saw my bank account and how much money I've actually dumped into this, you would not want to be able to do this. It's just dumb. But yeah, sign the paper. Let's get down to business and let's fix the organization.
Yeah.
Ray?
Yeah, I got no qualms about signing a thing about sponsorship. I'm a local club shooter. I the only sponsor I have is my wife. She drives me and helps me go to a lot of the matches. So my my sponsorship is Miss Mary Ann. That's it. That's all I got.
Okay.
So
You're
it
gonna have to
wouldn't be a
disclose that, right?
problem at all
I'm
with
kidding.
me
Divorce.
Right.
signing a sponsorship agreement.
You're
Well,
married
that-
to the organization.
Yeah.
But so, as a side buttle for you, Ray, as a business owner, could you see conflicts within your own business and the sport?
I personally I couldn't, because all I do is produce product that is sanctioned by USPSA, and there's nothing that I make is controversial, really. It all follows the rules. I don't, there's nothing that I make that isn't totally by the rules. So, if there was, I'd be getting a call from Troy McManus and saying, hey, you can't do that. And if he says I can't do that, that's the way it is. But I know the rules well enough that, I just don't make anything like it. And reality is if I get the presidency, I'd like to step away from that business as much as I can and maybe try to sell it off to somebody. I have some pretty good products out there, so.
Steve.
So this is required, but I also don't feel that our non-disclosure agreement or is and our what we have to disclose and what's available is nearly enough. I don't feel that it follows the IRS code. I for one have already talked to all of my sponsors, and if I get elected, that will end my sponsorship relationship with them. However, I also own a company that I'm a dealer and I sell to a lot of USPSA members and stuff like that. Most of that will end and be sent to that business will be sent to someone else, just simply for the fact of I don't want it to be said that, well, I had Moneypenny work on my trigger and stuff like that, so yeah, we're going to get nationals moved over to our range next year or whatever. So most of the targeted USPSA business of that would be removed, much less my time to run that business would be spent doing USPSA business. I don't feel that as a USPSA member, I don't feel that we should have sponsored shooters accepting money from the organization. And the IRS feels that if you take board money to go to an event, that you should not be advertising for someone else there. That is direct out of IRS nonprofit. So basically,
Okay.
if USPSA were to pay for me to go to an event, I couldn't wear a shirt for Red Hill Tactical.
Okay. So Todd, you have two questions. You can answer this one first, and then I'll ask you the question I had before because you dropped out.
Got it. Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
That's okay.
So I, I probably of everybody is probably the one that has proper industry contacts and work in the industry because that's what I've done for the last 35 years. I got into
Okay. Well, you answered one. All right, so we got your answer to the one, and what was the other one was how would you better communication with the members?
better communication with the members. Well, first of all, I mean, we have social media, thank God, to be able to communicate in ways that we've never done before. So, I mean, what we did back in the 80s and the 90s and even the 2000s, like someone said a while ago about, practice score, thank God for Ken Nelson. Ken Nelson was a blessing for this organization and for all shooting organizations across the board. Trying to get involved and trying to get people in, I think the president's job is to direct that and have somebody at headquarters or the people that are running the organization. That's their job. I feel my job is to go in and bring in other people, industry-wise or organizations to be able to grow the organization in ways we haven't done before. So yes, do I want to help membership? Absolutely, and I want to do that with junior programs. I also want to do that with law enforcement, which we don't go after. Also want to go after the military programs that get those more involved in the shooting sports, which we don't go after. I've said it for 20 years. Why are we lacking in those areas? Law enforcement wants to play, but they don't want to play with civilians. So why don't we just do a separate version of that along with the military? We can have separate matches running and create a brand new organization within the organization to be able to have that membership jump up in many ways. And I feel that we can do that.
Okay. All right. So the last question, if you want to call it that, is why should the membership vote for you? But you'll also have, so you'll have 2 minutes to answer that question. So it'll basically be your prologue. Okay. And we'll start with we'll start with Dexter. Go ahead.
So if you know me. I'm a person who gets along with everyone. I learned a long time ago, every person has value. I can listen to people and see their perspective on things, and I may not always agree, but I always find common ground. I may not have all the answers, but I have a huge community of people as resources to help me find solutions to all the problems we are facing. I know I can help get this organization back on track and even thrive in the years to come.
Okay. Thank you, Dexter. Luigi.
So why you should vote for me? I've been involved with this for a number of years, both as a competitor, as a director.
All right. I'm going to mute him, and Ray, go ahead, and I'm going to come back to you in a minute, Luigi.
Okay,
ahead, Ray.
so to sum it up, it's my vast experience with USPSA and the number of volunteer hours. Last year, I had 75 nights in the motels, working matches and volunteering and teaching. As an RMI, teaching classes and in all over the United States. That's what I do. That's what I enjoy. I would have that same dedication, putting in the time. I'm retired. I don't have to do anything but commit my time to USPSA. It's been a lifelong, labor of love, and that's who I am. And that's, if anybody that's been in my classes or worked matches with me know that, I'm more than qualified for this job. I've worked 100, let me read this down, 110 nationals, 25 nationals as MD or assistant MD, numerous Area 5 sectionals as match director, 75 plus major matches as RM. I've worked over and shot over 400 plus major matches, and I was a MD for 98 North American, 2001 Pan American, and I ran the local club matches for 25 years. So, there's, my certification for USPSA as an RO is the longest running in the United States. Nobody's had a certification longer than me. This is who I am and what I've done for the sport, and I will continue to do so, with totally the membership in mind. It's who I am and who I hope to be in the future for the membership.
Okay. Thank you. Luigi, you want to try again?
Yeah, I'll try. I don't know where it cut off, but I mean, I've been involved for a long time in all aspects of the sport. I have experiences outside of the sport, business side, board side. I've been a manager, I've been a boss, I've been an employee, I've been a researcher, I've been a scientist. I think that with everything about me and all my life experiences have put me in a very good position to do the best at being president of the sport.
Okay. Steve.
I feel that I'm the best candidate for this. I have enough experience. Obviously, I don't have the lifetime of experience that others have, but I have enough experience working with boards and working in business and over 20 years shooting USPSA and other sports that it gives me a very unique perspective. And I want this organization to be something that you, as every shooter and every voter and every person that wants to shoot practical shooting, can be proud of. I want to make the Nationals an event that everyone in the world wants to come to, and grow our organization in ways that we can only dream of in the past, because this organization has exponentially grown in the future. We need young, vibrant leadership that can propel us to the future. Anybody that knows me knows I have a stellar work ethic, and I will do whatever is necessary to learn whatever needs to be done and work with whoever needs to be worked with to get it done. So that's why you should vote for me, because I will get it done.
All right. Thank you, Steve and Todd.
Well, this is a business that it's no different than any other business. This nonprofit, don't kid you about a nonprofit. It doesn't mean anything but a name. This organization really needs to do one thing. It needs to turn this ship around. We need to look at into the future of getting, how can we get 100,000 members? Why does SAS have 100,000? Why do other organizations have their own headquarters? I would love to see our own range. I would like to see a headquarters on the ground. I would love to be able to see a history and legacy museum so we can preserve everything we got, be able to have that organization so people can come and visit there. Not only that, we can do RO classes there. This organization, we've done all of that stuff. All that stuff is already in the books. We've done it. It's good to go. Let's figure out how to make this thing bigger and better. How are we going to do that? We need to do that with the correct board. We need to do that with a CEO who runs nonprofits, who can actually put that down on paper, go to the board and say, this is what you're doing wrong. If you're doing this wrong, then we need to be able to fix this. If the board doesn't fix it, we're going to be stuck in the same damn place we've been for 40 years almost. So my whole thing is that let's look at this thing in a totally different way. We've got to be able to do one thing. We need to increase membership. And how do we do that? We do that by joining forces with other organizations, whether it be NRA, whether it be NSSF, whether it be USA Shooting, involving ourselves more with IPSC across the board. No matter what, we have to look at this as a business, guys, and that is my one thing that I want to do. Everything else we do, it runs like a smooth ship now. But the problem is that the captain of the ship is going in the wrong direction. We need to figure out how to do that. And for me personally, I want to make sure that the organization is bigger and better. I don't think that the president should be nothing but a figurehead, in my opinion. Take the money away from the president, give it to a CEO who knows how to run a nonprofit. I'll do it. I'll do the damn thing for a small amount of money and some expenses. That's all we need. We don't need a president to be able to do that. I'm done.
All right. Thank you, Todd. Manny, do you have any final comments?
Yes, I want to thank all the candidates for making this possible and coming out and participating and getting your ideologies and your ideas out to the membership to make them informed of who they're voting for. And I wish them all the best of luck in the election.
Thanks, man.
Thank you so much, guys.
David.
Yeah.
I'd like
Thank
to
you.
thank all
Thanks,
three of
Manny.
you guys that took the time to put this together, because not only are you doing this, but you also each have your own podcasts that do so much for our shooting sports and expose it to more new people. That one of the things we're talking about doing all the time.
Yes, I want to thank all of you for coming on. I mean, because you are giving the membership an opportunity to hear you all speak on the same topic so they can make a more informed decision. David had to jump off, but I thank David Blanton for being on. Manny, thank you for coming on. And gentlemen, good luck.
Thank you. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
everyone. God
Have a
bless.
good evening.
Have a great evening.
Thank you
care,
guys
guys.
for watching. You too.
See you. Bye.
Thank you.